When I tell you that the future of work is in automating every human job within every industry, I'm not kidding. And as of this November 2024, we have a shocking study from the medical industry that proved that on its own, ChatGPT can outperform doctors, even the doctors using AI. What? At a medical center in Boston, Dr. Adam Rodman, an expert in internal medicine, had this hypothesis. He believed that AI-powered chatbots would help doctors diagnose illness. And in a small study he conducted and designed, the results were actually not what he thought. Instead, here's what happened. Doctors that were given access to GPT-4 did only slightly better than doctors that didn't use AI at all. And do you know what beat both groups? ChatGPT on its own. What are you telling me? That AI by itself outperformed both groups of doctors, even the AI-enabled ones? When the results of his study came in, Dr. Rodman said he was shocked. And the difference wasn't just a few percentages, it was pretty drastic. ChatGPT on its own, without any help from a human doctor, scored a consistent 90% on accuracy when diagnosing a medical condition from a case report, and even explaining its own reasoning. Doctors that used the chatbot got it right 76% of the time, and doctors that didn't use any AI at all got it right 74% of the time. When you compare those three groups, there's a clear winner: 74, 76, or 90% accuracy rate. Well, I, for one, want the 90%, especially when it comes to my health. But to me, and to the doctor that designed this study, I think one of the greatest findings from this unbelievable outcome is that we simply don't know how to harness AI yet to its full capacity. And I can tell you this firsthand from my work in First Movers, where we help design AI integrations extremely customized to our end client that create these totally streamlined solutions where you go from a 10% gain from playing around with ChatGPT to a full 25x efficiency increase in your business. I'm talking fully automated virtual receptionists, fully automated content marketing, down to the ideation, the research, the content generation, all of it. When you have your systems streamlined, when you know to the full capacity of which you can use AI, that's when business itself changes. So that is something I get to see in our work at First Movers. And it's pretty incredible to show a business owner the possibilities and blow their minds, because like the study showed, the doctors that were using AI really weren't using it to get ahead. Getting ahead by 2% really isn't getting ahead at all. When you think to yourself, ChatGPT on its own got to a 90% accuracy rate, does that mean that I should actually be more hands-off when it comes to AI? And I know that's a shocking statement. You know, a human in the loop is still essential, but really that human's job should just be to oversee. And that is the beauty of this message, this mission, this opportunity that I've been seeing since I stepped into AI in January of 2023, which is where we have the automation of all jobs. And I know that that's scary, and bridging that divide is going to be a little insane, which is why part of my own mission is to work with brilliant people like Dave Shapiro on the models for these new economic paradigm shifts, because I think that the industry innovators are going to be the ones that need to come up with what that looks like. So that is part of my mission, knowing that that will be a scary divide to go from we've been working, that's been attached to capital all our lives. Literally for the past century, our worth and our value has been attached to our productivity and how that contributes to economic capital gains. Going from that to the full automation of every job because a robot can do it better, faster, safer, cheaper is unbelievable. And the opportunity in the room right now is for the first movers, the people that jump on these incredible efficiency gains, not just to go up by 2%, not just to be a doctor using ChatGPT, but to get to that 90% gain, that first mover's advantage where you get that 25x efficiency gain. And what's interesting is studies are showing that our consumers know that AI makes us better, faster, smarter, more efficient. And so they're actually choosing solutions with AI built into them. I recently had a conversation with Jonathan Mast, a thought leader in AI, and he told me that the customers that hire agencies, marketing agencies, are actually looking now for that marketing agency to use AI in how they deliver what they deliver. Because that end customer, that end business owner understands the efficiency gains we're going to have with AI. But back to the topic of AI in healthcare as a whole. This study was unbelievable and the results were also wild. But to me, they also point out a glaring hole in healthcare that I've personally experienced. When my daughter was 3 months old, I took her to a pediatrician and she was misdiagnosed with chicken pox. All she had was an allergic reaction and hives. And it's a good thing I set up a second appointment. That's when they backtracked the whole diagnosis and told me they were wrong. And to get to that diagnosis, these two doctors, there were two doctors, went to the back of the clinic and I saw them consulting a textbook. We were in that waiting room for up to 3 hours while they were trying to figure out what the end diagnosis should be. I just believe that in the medical industry, there is so much room for error. And I do believe there's a lot of great doctors and a lot of amazing medical staff that love their job, that make the biggest difference in the lives of their patients. But the administrative weight of all of those tasks behind the scenes, how do I measure this prescription? What is the end diagnosis? Is this what I think it is? Well, what if you had a machine that could process billions of data points and get to the right answer instantly? And that is what AI offers. So I believe it will absolutely revolutionize healthcare, an industry that honestly needs this so much. I've seen it firsthand, and maybe you have too. In my late 20s, I developed this severe allergic reaction to certain types of food. A big contributing factor was this buildup of processed foods in my body. I was completely unaware of the side effects of that almost inedible food. Super low quality, high processed junk food. And when I went to the doctor, I had to go back 3 times. In the end, they gave me 3 diagnoses and a prescription for antibiotics. None of that saved my health in the long run. I have done more on my own. And I know stories of people now using ChatGPT to show and frame up a super accurate way of presenting all of their systems to their doctor and then getting to that diagnosis much more quickly because they, the patient, were informed enough to use AI before they even went to the doctor. So I guess this video isn't just about this shocking study where AI on its own outperformed the doctor and the doctor using AI, but this video is more about the idea of creating massive efficiency with AI, and especially as we enter 2025, 2026, we need to think about AI in a whole new way. You don't need for something to exhibit consciousness and human-like capabilities in order to hand off work to it. That is a huge misconception I see consistently floating around there. Well, AI isn't as intelligent as a human. Well, it's a machine. It's not supposed to function and act like a human. In fact, it's supposed to be far superior, but it lacks our soul. It lacks our human touch. And guess what? That's how we stay ahead. That's how we position our brand. That's how we touch our customer, our audience base. But we use AI to amplify, get out of the administrative work and get back to just being, which is the natural state we were supposed to function in as humans. And this idea of our value only attached to capital and productivity gains and sitting at a desk for 90 hours a week is so very much the opposite of what we as humans were placed here on earth to do. And if AI is our liberation, our instrument to take away all of that administrative headache, so we can get back to being the doctor in that room with empathy that isn't weighed down by the fact that, oh, I have to go and consult a myriad of sources and my own fallible human brain to try to decide what diagnoses to render. And then I have to document it all. And then I have to pass that off to the nurse. And then I have to prescribe. What if AI could take all of that off of our back? And what if we ran it like the machine it is capable of being? That is the thought I want to leave you with. Here's to massive efficiency gains, an incredibly bright future for our businesses. Here's to the first movers that even have the courage to capitalize on this gigantic win in the room that I believe not even 5% of businesses are tapping into yet. But I do think that will significantly change in 2025. It is incredible what AI can do, and it doesn't need to exhibit human-like intelligence for us to be able to hand off a ton of work we never wanted to do anyway to it. We can have some serious wins should we choose to operate these machines the way that we can. If you have any thoughts on this, or if you want to see the study that'll be linked to in the YouTube description, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. As always, if you haven't subscribed, be sure to do that. I'm Julie McCoy right here on YouTube, and it is my honor, my joy, my passion to take you down all the AI rabbit holes. I'll see you down the next one.